Show. I am so happy to have you guys here. The Live Today Show is a live and interactive show airing right here on CAN TV Channel 21. And you can also stream us live at cantv.org/hotline. Stream us live now at cantv.org/hotline. Now, this is a live and interactive show, so the next 25 minutes is your opportunity to call in with your questions and comments. Please feel free to call the number at the bottom of the screen. That is 312-738-1060. That number again is 312-738-1060. Hi everybody, I'm Dr. Cherie and I am the host of the Live Today Show, and I am also the founder of the Live Today Foundation, a 501c3 nonprofit organization meeting the needs of cancer survivors living with lymphedema. Now, we have a fantastic show set out for you guys today. Our mission here with Live Today Foundation is to educate, inspire, provide joy, and get this, free compression garments to cancer survivors who are under-resourced or underserved in need of compression garments. Yes, you heard it right. We provide free compression garments to cancer survivors who are under-resourced and or underserved. Now, I am extremely happy about today's show. And listen, but before I get a little too excited, but before I get on with the show, I want you guys to be able to go on out to our website. Come on out, join the Live Today movement at live-today.org. Please feel free to email us at info@live-today.org. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us and call us at 754-220-0234. And listen, we cannot forget to make sure that you guys follow us and join our Live Today family on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and we need to update this because you can also find us at YouTube at livetoday.org. That is livetoday.org. Now, I am super excited about today's show. Reason being, in case those of you that did not know, March is Lymphedema Awareness Month, and light blue, this is like the closest that I could come, is the color for lymphedema. And I'm super excited and happy on today because thanks to the initiation of Dr. Sylvia Hood Washington, many of you may remember she was our guest this past January. Thanks to her initiation and the support of many, in particular the Live Today Show and the Live Today Foundation, here in the state of Illinois, March 6th was named, wait for it, World Lymphedema Day, right here in Illinois. Woo! Yes, we got World Lymphedema Day declared. March 6th, here in Illinois, will forever be World Lymphedema Day, and it gives us an opportunity that on this day to really raise awareness about lymphedema. It gives us the opportunity to blast it out there and make this disease known. And see, and here's why this is a big deal. You may say, oh, okay, World Lymphedema Day. But here's why it's a big deal. It's because there are billions of people, yeah, I said billions, they don't even know what lymphedema is. And quite frankly, until a few years ago, nobody had ever even really heard of the word. But here in the US alone, there are more than 10 million people living with lymphedema. That is more than muscular dystrophy, ALS, multiple sclerosis, Parkinson's disease, and AIDS combined. People didn't even know about it. And the problem is that many of individuals that are living with lymphedema, they suffer in silence. And getting World Lymphedema Day declared is so important because we're hoping that this is going to help people break out of their shells. There is no reason any longer to suffer in silence. It is a very difficult disease to live with. I know because I'm living with the complication myself, but the more you tell, the more people know, the more support we can get, the more educated we get, the more research that is done, and then we can set ourselves up not just for proper management of this disease, but hey, I'm looking for a cure. I am looking so that every individual, especially cancer survivors who are dealing with surgery and having lymph nodes removed and or dealing with radiation, won't even have to think about the complication of lymphedema. But we can't get there if people don't even know what it is. Now, I'm super excited about our virtual guest that we're going to have today. Now, Mr. William Rapici, he is the president and CEO of the Lymphatic Education and Research Network, otherwise abbreviated LEARN. And Bill was unable to be in the studio with us, but he so generously pre-recorded a video for us where he's going to let us know a little bit more about what LEARN does and talk about that relationship between Live Today and the Lymphatic Education and Research Network. Now, Bill, interesting enough, before he even interviewed for the job as the president and CEO of LEARN, he hadn't even heard the word lymphedema, let alone know what it was. But I can tell you this, since that man has come on as CEO, he has taken this disease on and taken on the network with a vengeance. And without further ado, I want to introduce you to my dear friend, Mr. Bill Rapici. Take a look.
Hello, everyone. My name is Bill Rapici. I'm the president and CEO of the Lymphatic Education and Research Network. And it's a real pleasure for me today to be with you on Live Today. Thanks to the inimitable Dr. Sherry Prentice. Sherry, thanks so much for this opportunity to collaborate with your organization and to tell your listeners a little bit more about the Lymphatic Education and Research Network. As Sherry Wells knows, we were formed in 1998, and back at that point, very few people were talking about the lymphatic system or lymphedema. The organization was started by a mother whose child was suffering from primary lymphatic disease and found that they would go to physicians and they would just be told there was no information to help in this case. That was unsatisfactory to this person. This organization was started as a result and certainly focused a lot of its energies on research in the early days because so few people were paying attention to it. And if you want to create change, first you have to get the researchers invested and involved, and that means getting the National Institutes of Health involved and actually funding that research. Well, fast forward these last 20 years, and certainly over the last 5 or 6 years, I've seen just a dramatic change in the field and where we are heading. I think one thing that's changed so dramatically, it really is the impact of those people who have lymphedema in really coming forward and realizing that they have a strong voice and the numbers are on their side. One of the things that I found curious when I first got into this field is I would look at other diseases that affected far fewer people than lymphedema, and yet realize that they had a presence in society. Everybody knew what these diseases were. So whereas there are 500,000 people in the United States with multiple sclerosis, there are about 330,000 people with AIDS, about 1 million that are HIV positive, about 30,000 that have ALS, about 1 million that are Parkinson's. Knowing that there were up to 10 million with lymphedema, one had to ask themselves, why is it anybody on the street could tell you something about these other diseases, and yet you could go up to someone with lymphedema and they would have no idea what disease they have? So part of the challenge starting out is to figure out how do we get in this situation and then decide, okay, now that we know, how do we unravel it? Well, certainly one of the things that LEARN found out years ago is Dr. Stanley Roxon did a study of medical schools to find out that they really were only spending about 15 to 30 minutes studying the lymphatic system during the entire 4-year course of a physician. So unfortunately, that means physicians were graduating, going into practice with little knowledge about lymphedema, which means they were unable to diagnose it, which means patients weren't told what disease they have. And if you don't know your disease has a name, how do you reach out and find resources, especially in this internet age? How do you do a Google search if you don't have a name for the disease you have? How do you find a community that supports you? Well, those days are long over. At this point, you look at even within the last couple of months with Kathy Bates, Academy Award winner as Lauren's spokesperson. She has been on the Dr. Phil show, which has a viewership of about 20 million. She was on WebMD, where they gave her a Game Changer Award for her efforts in lymphedema. They have about 20 million people that view their website. She was on Good Morning America. She just did another Yahoo post. Many of these you'll be able to find on the Learn website if you haven't been able to see them firsthand. But what this means is the word is getting out not only among the community who already know, but among the general public. Why is that important? Because the squeaky wheel does always get the grease. And if we really want the National Institutes of Health to dramatically increase the amount of money that they put into research of lymphedema and lymphatic diseases, we have to make it known to our politicians that this is a priority. Look at it this way. For the last 20 years, AIDS has been receiving $3 billion a year in research funding to the National Institutes of Health. Brilliant, wonderful, we love this. On the other hand, though, lymphatic diseases, which affects, as I said, about 10 million in this country, 250 million worldwide, receives about $25 million of research support. And of that amount, only about 5 million directly goes into clinical studies related to lymphedema. Now, certainly, we need a lot more than this to create the kind of change. We need new treatments, and we want to be able to hope for a cure. Right now, there are no drugs at pharmaceutical companies that I know of that are being developed.
Now listen, I want to take a break.
The advocacy
because this is very important with what
people who are
with what Bill said. There's tons of money out there for what are valid, extremely important diseases. But when you think about the number, the sheer vast number of individuals living with lymphedema, something had to be done. And I am so very grateful for the Lymphatic Education and Research Network. I'm grateful for having the foresight to be able to do something myself that I could do locally and within the communities in which I live and serve to make a difference with this disease. Now listen guys, if you want to find out more information on how you can support the Live Today Foundation, please visit us at live-today.org. Come on guys, we really need you to join the Live Today movement today. Join us at live-today.org and shoot us an email if you're interested in finding out how you could volunteer. If you have heard of a fantastic grant that could help and meet the needs of the community, please feel free to reach out, email us at info@live-today.org. Now, guys, we still have some very important information that we want to hear from Bill. So without further ado, let me take you back to Bill.
Invested in this disease all around the country, and not just people who have the disease, but your family, your colleagues, your extended network. We need to really go to them. What does that mean? It means coming out of the closet. It means admitting that you have this disease. It means being willing to talk about it. It means also making that leap beyond the stoicism you feel when you talk about your disease and say, well, mine is mild, because you're being very courteous of the fact that you see other people and assume maybe they're suffering more than I am, and rather realize there is no such thing as a mild case of lymphedema. They are all debilitating in their own way. There are more severe cases than others, true, but if we keep using the term that it's mild and we brush it off, that it's not that big a deal, we are going to always be at the bottom of the list, because that's not what any other. I've never heard anybody say, I have a mild case of cancer. I have a mild case of diabetes. They just say they have the disease, and attention is given as a result. We need to do the same thing.
Admittedly, guys, I was the same way. I felt that I heard from so many other people, thank God you're a survivor. And so I would downplay my lymphedema, even though I knew how devastating having this disease. I knew the condition and the devastation that it was having on my activities of daily living, on my work, on my family life, on my social life. And so I suffered in silence until I decided that, you know what? When I shared my story as a breast cancer survivor, people were inspired. People were motivated to get out there and get their mammogram. So why would I hide it anymore? Why don't I get out there with some cute garments that match my style, match my outfits, and again, allow individuals to ask me, hey, why are you wearing that? And increase awareness about what lymphedema is. My fellow lymphedema patients out there, you do not have to suffer alone. We don't want you to suffer alone. We want you to speak out. We want you to have your needs met. And that's why the Live Today Foundation is here. So remember, if you want to find out how you can support the Live Today Foundation, please go out to live-today.org and join this fantastic Live Today movement and join the Live Today family. We really need you guys out here. And I believe Bill has one last point that he wants to make to us. Hold on 1 second. Here's Bill.
Also, to tell you more about Learn, we also focus obviously on education and advocacy. And I suggest come to our website at lymphaticnetwork.org. You will find so many resources there. One resource are our symposium series. Here you will find dozens and dozens of videos that are made by the top experts in the world in a variety of fields, from treatment to insurance. And these are all freely available to you and anyone you care to share them with. You will also find all the videos from the Harvard Lymphedema Symposium from both last year and the year before. This is an incredible record of the top experts, so please do take advantage of that. Also, you want to know what is going on with other people, so you know you're not alone. Other people who have this disease. And if you go to our website, you will see another section called Your Stories. And here you can read the stories of other people who also live with lymphedema, or are family members of people who live with lymphedema and other lymphatic diseases as well. I mean, certainly one of the things Learn is trying to do is collectively worldwide get us all together to fight this disease. There are an estimated 250 million people in the world who have lymphedema. Now just imagine if we get all those people to start demanding change.
Now, finish listening to Bill.
Forward. I really want to thank Dr. Prentice, Sherry. Thanks once again. And she has just the most incredible spirit. We met last year as the second Harvard Lymphedema Symposium, and that's where she met Kathy Bates as well. Kathy gave the keynote there. She brought so much energy, so much love, so much interest in improving the lives of people in Illinois, certainly a focus on the minority communities there that have lymphedema that very often end up being ignored. And I just so appreciate her efforts and the collaboration between the Live Today Foundation and Learn. Again, thank you very much for your attention and having me here today. All my best to you all. Take care.
Now, as you can see, the lymphatic education, let's give it up for Bill. Can we give it up for Bill? Woo! Mwah, mwah, mwah. Thank you, Bill. Live Today, the Live Today Foundation we support the Lymphatic Education and Research Network. We decided that, no longer can we make a dent in this disease if we continue to work in silos. It's unacceptable. We won't be able to do what really needs to be done working in silos. So we said no more. We're going to join forces and get out there and do what needs to be done. Now, the second part of this show is where I get really excited. We are going to highlight an individual who is the recipient of free compression garments because of Live Today Foundation's work. And I want to show you her picture, and I'm going to share a little bit of her story as I tell you about her. She's so absolutely gorgeous that I just couldn't just sit here and talk to you without you taking a look at this beautiful woman. Look at her. This is Miss Christina Cole. She was diagnosed with stage 1 breast cancer at the age of 26, and she attributes her early detection from knowing what her normal is and actually finding the mass herself as what was allowed her to actually be living today. She underwent a mastectomy of her right breast. She had 11 lymph nodes removed, none of which, thank God, were positive for cancer, and she received 4 rounds of chemotherapy. Now, in her own words, this is Christina. While healing physically, I focused my spiritual faith on God's healing power and mercy. I was fortunate to have the love of family and friends who prayed for me and supported me to help me get through the health crisis I was facing. Even with all of the love and the outpouring of support I experienced while enduring breast cancer treatment, at times I felt alone because I didn't know anyone my age who could relate to my situation or what I was feeling. After moving forward with my life and celebrating breast cancer, I thought my healing was complete and my experience in the past. In 1998, I found a romantic love and had purchased a home. But in 2001, after 5 years of being cancer-free, I had become a mother. All was well and I was advancing professionally and personally. However, on July 6, 2008, I suddenly began to feel ill. I experienced chills and fever while suddenly when I was cleaning my house. There was pain and soreness in my right arm and shoulder that incapacitated me. And as the day progressed, my right arm began to develop a bright red rash and my hand became so swollen I couldn't make a fist. I drove to the ER to get help and was immediately admitted. The doctors diagnosed me with cellulitis and treated me with antibiotics intravenously over the course of 4 days. While the infection began to dissipate and the red rash faded, much of the swelling remained. I would elevate my arm and hand and would try to be very careful as I performed daily tasks. I recall during my initial treatments for breast cancer that lymphedema could develop and there's no cure, only management. Now, with Christina, her PCP, her primary care physician, referred her to an orthopedic medicine physician who provided her with some compression garments. And over the past 11 years, she's used compression garments, she's used pumps, she's used physical therapy, all in an attempt to control the swelling and limit her infections. And this is why lymphedema is so important. People don't realize that your limb that's affected with lymphedema, your body, first of all, is immunocompromised. So it can't fight off infections. So those of us that live with lymphedema, we have to watch those little hangnails. We have to watch the making sure we don't get those minor burns when we're taking food out of the oven. Little things like that could spark off a serious infection. And so this woman tried as much as she possibly could to decrease her swelling. But she, like me, because of the size of her arm and her hands, it's in her right arm and hand too. Clothing was difficult, she admitted, and professionally it began to be a challenge. Now, listen to this too, and I want to share her picture with you as well as I read this. Christina says, the beige, tan, nude compression garments that I've worn do not coordinate with fashion. Amen, sister. And handshakes while wearing the beige compression glove have been awkward as many assume something is wrong with me, that I'm in pain, or worse, that I have punched someone. Girl, sometimes we feel like we want to. Additionally, I do not wear jewelry on my right wrist and I'm unable to wear rings. While I have been cancer-free now for 22 years, at the age of 48, I'm still managing cancer's side effects. There are lasting physical, mental, and emotional scars that breast cancer left behind, and managing lymphedema is a daily reminder. I consciously think about my body image and protecting my right arm and hand while trying my best to be a positive beacon for others and continuously try to celebrate life every day. While I understand that my healing continues, I no longer consider myself a breast cancer survivor. I am a breast cancer conqueror who happens to be managing lymphedema. Well said, Christina. Well said. And Christina, in her profession, because of the lymphedema, she has fallen on some hard times right now. And that's one of the things that Live Today does. We provide free compression garments to individuals who are under-resourced, underserved, or facing financial difficulties. And we provide them with free compression garments. Now, listen, guys, I want you guys to make sure that you follow us at live-today.org. Get out on that website. Find out how you can support us. We need your support. We can't make it without you. And we want you, please, to actually go out and follow us. Join this Live Today family at livetoday.org. That is livetoday.org. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. I want you guys to be out there and listening because there is going to be some fantastic things that are happening we are planning educational events here in the Chicagoland area, not only for healthcare professionals, but also for patients. So listen, guys, I want to thank you for participating in today's show. Thank you to Mr. Bill Rapici. Thank you so much to Christina Cole for allowing us to highlight and spotlight on her. Tune in next time, April 10th at 5:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. And make sure, I gotta thank my producers, Vibes. And remember, I'm Dr. Cherie. Be present, take charge of your life, and live every day.